Hello, this is Compound Interest Stock Guy, and today I'm going to talk about the cannabis stocks, and I might get into some other things, so stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the bell down below, give me a thumbs up, I appreciate it. I want to disclose I'm not a financial advisor. This is just for entertainment information purposes. Do not buy or sell based on anything I talk about in this video. Buy or sell after you did your research and your due diligence and you like the investment you're pursuing. So yeah, I'm out here in BC, check it out. Yeah, nice. Yeah, so listen, I haven't been watching I haven't been day trading, like not day trading, but just like watching the markets all during the day in the last couple days. Just been busy with stuff, driving around. Saw my friend in Tofino, came back. Yeah, just doing some different things. But I saw that Ceneva's down pretty hard. It hit below 250, so I was thinking that 250 might be the bottom, but I'm thinking that it's going a little bit lower. It's gonna want to test maybe like 220 to $2 and maybe below $2. But I think if you're playing it for like the next 6 months, if you can get in around now, or scale in, scale out, I think you do pretty good. I'm not saying to buy, but I'm just saying what I'm gonna do. I'm looking to get in around, like I have a position, I have about 1,500 shares, but it's a lot higher than that, so I want to lower my cost average. I want to get down a lot lower, so I'm hoping I can get like 1,000 or 2,000 shares at close to $2. And so I might be buying tomorrow. If it hits like around like 215, 225 or something like that, I might pick up 500 or 1,000 shares. Just depends how I'm feeling. But yeah, I look at the chart and the RSI is really low. I mean, all it's going to take is a trend reversal, and it's going to go to like $2.85, $3. I think, and then when the market understands how much potential Ceneva has, is when it's going to take off and it's going to go to $4, $5, $6, $7, and it's going to be explosive. There's not many shares out. Yeah, I mean, I just think that there's a lot of potential for Ceneva. I know that it's had its tough times and all that, but yeah, I really like the company. I haven't really changed my outlook on the company, even though I'm down on my position. I just look at it. I think that their California business, when it's up and running, now they're getting $20 million because they're selling their Canadian, their outdoor. Their indoor facility out in OSO, so they're selling it to a company for around $20 million. So that should happen in the next week or two, and that's gonna be, when that's closed, that's gonna be really big for the company. So tilt is around 110, 115 in Canadian funds, around like 85, 90 cents in USA. It's just kind of slowly hitting its bottom. I think the bottom's slowly being formed, but I think it might trickle down a little bit lower. Like when it hits a doji, it might test its really low bottom, maybe like 95 Canadian. So if I could pick up some shares at 95 Canadian, I'd be fucking happy. That'd be probably around like 70 cents US. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. And Cannabis, I'm not really looking to buy at these levels. I just think it's like range bound around 165 until the whole market changes, like with Canopy starts unleashing their edibles and all that stuff. Then it's gonna ride, because it has some nice products coming out with their kombucha lineup, and then just with they have a Red Seal cook, and he's making up some stuff. So I mean, depends how good their products are, but they're gonna hype that, and that could give them. But Rich TV says that they still need a little bit more money to completely finance all the retrofitting of their facilities, so they might need another 50 million or so, I think. So But I mean, at the same time, like, Zenabis is pretty set up. I mean, they're set up in, they have global relations, they're set up, and they have a infused beverage lineup. They're set up, they have pharma, I think they have PharmaSave, I'm not 100% sure, but they have Save, they have Shoppers Drug Mart, I mean. And so they can distribute their products, like whatever kind of cannabis they have a lot of ways to offload it, whereas like some of the smaller players have a lot more difficulty when if they start growing a lot more, and you know, it's just not very good product or whatever the case, they have a lot tougher problem right now. If a company has distribution and they're not growing that much, then really all you have to realize that is when they do start to scale their kilograms every month, then the company's revenues are going to explode. I mean, you look at WAYL Group, and they got all these distribution channels, and all that needs to happen is them growing more, and then their revenues are going to explode, and their profits are going to get through the roof, and they're going to become net income profitable, I think, because they grow it at such a cheap rate. Now the companies such as like Cannabis Growth, they're growing it at like $5-6 a gram, which is ridiculous. So they're starting to do outdoor grows. So I mean, that has to change, because they're not going to be profitable. Yeah, if there's other things, I'm not going to get into it. They'll find a way to make money and stuff like that, but as far as just doing it just through flower and oils and stuff, Cannabis can't do it. They just can't. The only way they can do it is if they exported every kilogram to Europe and the global. But I mean, companies will cut them down. So I don't know. Cannabis got a moat. They got their $4.5 billion and all that crap. But I mean, I just don't think the way their efficiencies isn't very good. So that's why I do like Zenabis. I like Suniva. I like WAYL and Tilt. Tilt is blowing through some money, but they're gonna get into dispensaries, and the vapes are just gonna get even more popular. So they're gonna find a way. I like their new CEO. He was the guy that started was it Jupiter Vapes. So I think that's good for the company. And if you're buying the stock at 110, just know my average is like 2 times higher, and I'm not worried about my average. Does that say that the stock could not go to zero? It could go to zero. That's the risk you take. But I'm just saying though, I know that I think Tilt's gonna have to raise some money. They had like $20 million, and they're probably burning through some cash, so that's probably weighing on their price quite a bit, because they're probably gonna have to dilute maybe 50-60 million shares, and what are they gonna dilute it at? The only safe harbor for that is if the banking reform happens, and then they can just get some type of bank loan, maybe a $50 or $100 million loan, and that they can just grow their business and stuff, and then get their share price up higher, where they can dilute it at a lot higher price, because diluting it at $1 is not very good for the company. So, oh, there's a cruise ship. Yep, I'm just in the oasis. What can I say? Yeah. Oils is looking pretty good, actually. I'm hoping that I can go to like low 40s or high 30s, and I'll get another position again. I bought 1,500 shares at, I think that was like 41 cents, and I sold them at 48, and then it went to 65, and I didn't make as much money as I'd like, and I wasn't happy about it. But they gapped down because it needed to fill that gap. So oils, I think if it gets down, because I think they're going to get a license sometime in the summer, and that gives them reasonable time to extract products for legalization 2.0. So they're pretty much like the third to go. They're the third company in line to be extraction monsters. You know, you got labs, and then you got valence, and then the next it will be oils, I think. I mean, OSO, I own shares in them, and they're still halted, and they're gonna be like kind of medical grade. They're and I think the company will do good, but I just don't think they'll be as extraction. Like, I don't know. It's hard to say. There's not much clarity on OSO to be bullish on them, but I do like the company, and if they're start trading and they're like in the 30s or something like that, I don't think I'm just gonna push to sell in the profits. I think that OSO will be good as well, and they have an extraction facility in Okanagan, like 10,000 square feet, I believe, and that should get licensed sometime soon too. So I could see that oils and Asoya's cannabis get their extraction license at similar time frames. So that's my thinking. But I think that oils will be more profitable, so that's why I'm kind of leaning towards oils. But there's no saying that OSO may not make more money. I just don't know enough yet. Like, they're wild cards, right? They're pre-revenue. When a company's pre-revenue, it's really hard to kind of get a gauge. You have to I mean, read all these things, but then you have to guess in lots of things, like, oh, what are their supply deals? How much do you think they're going to be able to do? And it's not the easiest thing to do. And can I do that? Yeah, but it's not going to be very accurate, even if you do a lot of. Now, if you get like 1 or 2 quarters under a company's belt, then and you start to gauge like what's if a company's on the rec market, you can go to the online cannabis store, and then you can see what other companies are doing as well, and you can kind of get a gauge. And so far I've been pretty good at that. So, but as far as a pre-revenue company, it's a lot tougher. So yeah, I mean, but oils is good. I think Next Leaf Solutions. What other company? So I got BioMgrow on my hot watch list. I got BioMgrow and I got Ceneva. And another company to look out for is Grow Generations, because the backers are Gotham Green, the same company that's backing MedMen, and Danny Moses of Merida Capital, and another institution or kind of firm. They put like $13 million into Grow Generations, and Grow Generations wants to do $100 million. Like, they're saying the acquisitions that they have, that gives them the money, so they're gonna have some type of acquisition in the next month or so that's gonna be released. I think that's what I read from the news release, but I mean, things can change. But basically, Grow Generation, they got $0.3 million in net income, which is awesome, and they have a really tight share structure. Now, they added some shares, maybe 4 million shares, not much, so they only have about 33 million shares or so it's very low. Now, they could potentially get onto the NASDAQ as well, and their share price would explode because they got a really like tight float. I own 80 shares, and I may potentially buy more, but I'm more likely to buy a Canadian or a stock on the CSE or the TSX rather than on the OTC, just because the tax purposes. But I mean, for Kush Bottle, I own 100 shares of Kush Bottle just because I like the upside in the revenues, and I can see it going higher. Grow Generations is a good player in the USA that's inexpensive, and I don't think it's gonna stay cheap. I bought it at 3.10 cents, and then it went to like 3.80. I didn't sell my shares because I'm like, I want to sell it if it's $5. Now it was up 7% today, and I could see it go up tomorrow. But I mean, it could also go back down to $3. But Grow Generations, if you're looking to buy on the OTC, is a good stock. GRWG. Kush Bottle's slightly coming up. Their revenues are coming out on July 30th or sometime in the end of July. And so they could have some massive revenues. I mean, they've already done massive revenues, 35 million. I mean, they could potentially do 40 million. Who's to say? Maybe only like 37. But I mean, I think they're going to be nice. Right? They just need to burn less capital and get closer to profitability and the share price, because they don't have a very high profit margin. They have like about 15% or something. So they need to be really efficient with their business if they're only making 40 million. But when the company starts making like 100 million, 200 million, they'll be able to be profitable, as long as they don't like expend too much money on marketing. But yeah, I think that, okay, so Grow Generations, Tilt, Saniva. I've never bought Liberty Health Sciences, but I mean, they're looking pretty low. I know Danny Moses is into them. I'm not saying to buy them. I personally not going to buy them, I don't think, but they're starting to get fairly dominant in Florida, which is going to be a very profitable state. What else? There's MedMen's I think it's been around like $3.30 and stuff. I mean, it's gonna get some when things start to go up, the whole market, I can see it going to $5, $6, $7. I mean, they're not gonna be profitable for a while, but I'm just looking forward to Kronos signing a deal to acquire them, the same type of deal that Cannabis has, because it was the Gotham Green backing them, because they're connected with MedMen, just signals that very well could happen. So just the fact that, and Kronos has so much cash. Kronos has like $3 billion in cash, and they're gonna get a little bit more. I mean, maybe they only have 2.5, but I think they're gonna get another like $1.5 billion. So they're gonna be cashed up. Like, they're the richest companies in the space, so they can acquire. I don't know. Just talking about green thumbs with my friend, and he's kind of interested in them, but I mean, I know that they have some type of acquisition, like a pro forma, but they don't announce it. So they're making some pretty good revenues, like 27 million last quarter, but they probably, with the company that they're acquiring, they're somewhere around like 40 million. So they're a big company. Yeah, Charlotte's Web, I guess. I mean, now that they're on the TSX, maybe they could get on the NASDAQ, but I'm not buying them. Oh yeah, who's on my hot watch list is Abacus as well, and Abacus is starting to kind of come up. It has a very tight share structure. I don't own any shares, but they're a very dominant force in the CVS's in USA, and they're only going to get bigger as far as topical creams. Like, they're going to be a very dominant force. They're FDA approved, like something like DEA approved or whatever. So they can say that their products are healthy for people. I mean, if somebody gets an injury, and they take that to help them. So that's what's good. I don't own any shares, but I've been thinking about it. Abacus Health, ABCS. I don't know what their ticker is in US, but they're very under the radar. And I could see, if as soon as their revenues get up to like 10 million, because it was like 3 million, and I could very well see that in the next 6 months, because they have such a tight share structure. I think that you could see a lot of institutions want to get some shares, and it could like run the stock up really high, just because there's a very low amount of shares out. What else? I have the Pro Short SPI. I'm not sure what that is, but I have that on my hot watch list. And I don't know, nickel and copper is starting to rise up. I have shares. I have warrants in Sprott Resources, SRHI warrant, but I'm not as bullish as I used to be, because I read the fine print, and it's like a 20-to-1 for the warrant. So I still think I'm gonna make a lot of money, and it just depends on the copper going up to like $3 to $4 in the next 6 to 12 months, that I can make a lot of money, like selling out. My average is around like 1 cent per warrant, and then I think I'm probably be able to sell them for like 5 cents to 10 cents in the next 6 to 12 months when it starts going up. Maybe not as high, but I got 300,000 warrants, so I'll do okay. But GGI is a nickel player, and their exploration, it's kind of it's very speculative, but I own some shares and share it. But I don't know, mining's really sketchy. Same with cannabis, they're all sketchy. But as soon as the price of these commodities start to go crazy, if gold starts going crazy and silver starts going crazy and all this stuff like that, things can get way out of hand. Yeah, I mean, I don't have the computer right in front of me, so that's pretty much all I'm going to talk about, but I hope this gave you a kind of overview of what's going on when I look in the markets. So I hope you enjoyed this. Give me a thumbs up, and until next time, peace.